Welcome back to the Murdy Creative Co podcast. I'm your host, Colin Murdy, and today's topic is my father. But first, I want to say thank you to everyone who supported the company so far. If you got a chance, go check us out on the web at murdycreative.co. That's M-U-R-D-Y creative.co. Or you can check us out on Facebook and Instagram by searching at murdycreative.co to see the best of our product shots. Follow us to keep up to date with our daily photos and be the first one to know about new product launches. You can also use the subscribe button at the bottom of our website to be included in all of our new product announcements. Be sure to check out our laser engraving, personalization options, and exclusive colors on the website, or get a blank one on Amazon Prime. All right, so first and foremost, if you haven't gone and checked out the new website, please do so. It is much easier to use, in my opinion. It's got a lot of cool stuff on it, and it's hopefully going to have a lot more stuff on it as time goes on. So if you haven't got a chance to check it out, go look at it and tell me what you think. We're looking for feedback. So this topic today actually was a suggestion made by my mother. I have been trying to figure out, this morning I was sitting at the breakfast table going, what do I talk about? And Mom mentioned to me that I should talk about the photo on Instagram. And that actually sparked a much better question in general. But I wanted to tell about my father a little bit. To start off, though, I'm going to use the original impetus of the discussion, which was the Instagram photo. So for those of you who've been paying attention to our Instagram, a couple of days ago, I posted a photo of my father sitting at the kitchen table reading out of one of the Bibles that we have and writing in a journal that I had given him a long time ago, Murdy number 2. And it was a good photo. Don't get me wrong. I think it was a well photographed moment. And it was also a very beautiful, organic moment. So there was, I think, that going for it. But it was one of those photos where I just snapped a photo because I needed to put something on Instagram. I was actually sitting across from the table from him working on my email. And I realized it was that time of night. And I'm like, I have to post something on Instagram. And I snapped that photo. And that's how that photo came to be. And it went insane. It was bananas. Like, it was crazy. We saw within an hour that it was going to be a very, very big photo for us. But it, within 24 hours, became the most organically liked photo we've ever posted, which I think the previous record was held by the number 5 journal in front of the picture of the Notre Dame before it burned down the day of the fire. That was the previously most organically liked photo. This blew that out of the water. And of course, my father's very happy about this. But it was a good photo. It was a good photo in hindsight. Like, looking back at it, it had a lot of great elements. Father's Day is coming up. It has, obviously, the Bible in it. It has my father. It has my father writing in his journals. So there's a lot of elements to it that I think were really fortuitous in a kind of a natural and organic way, which was good. But it got me thinking about Father's Day, and it got me thinking a lot about all of the wonderful blessings that my parents, both of them, have been in my life. I will probably do a separate one on my mother, who many of you have known has been a wonderful, wonderful force for good in my life and has been very helpful in finding the details and finding the little things that need some assistance. And she's also been very good at encouraging me throughout this process. But my father has provided me with a different kind of motivation. I am very blessed to have both of my parents alive, healthy, married, and in a position where they can help me. We have a very healthy relationship. They've been very helpful, both from their words of encouragement, but from time to time, they have lent us a little bit of money. I've done my very best to avoid that, and I've always done my best to pay them back quickly, because I don't like the idea that, you just got where you were because your parents, paid your way, which is, I think, it's the most frustrating possible thing to hear, because that's not at all what happened. It's never what's happened. And it's always been a situation where I could either borrow a little bit of money from my parents, or I could go to a bank and pay them an absurd interest rate. And I've been very happy that they've been willing to do that. And I have recently been trying to avoid that as much as possible, and the line of credit just came through, and so hopefully we won't need to do that ever again. But my father has always been a very valuable friend and tool, in that he brings out in me, and he asks me questions that draw out from me things I don't normally think about. He's very detail-oriented. He's a doctor by trade. For those of you who listened to the interview I did with him on the coronavirus at the beginning of the pandemic last year, he's a doctor by trade, and he is a very good doctor. He is very good at the little details, the things that matter, that you may not think that matter. And because of that, he brings to the table a lot of really good questioning styles. for me, that has really helped because sometimes I have a little bit of a tendency to kind of just the ready, fire, aim. And while that's worked out pretty well, all things considered, it's not necessarily a good strategy in the big picture, and it's not necessarily a good strategy in the long term. So he has been the one that's always said, do the numbers, run the numbers. And now as the company, transitions into this new data-driven DNA, the numbers are becoming very critical to the decision-making process. And so the numbers are becoming far more interesting. I mean, not only are they a lot larger, which is terrifying, but they're a lot more, it's a strange thing. You don't really realize how the little details cost a lot of money until you get to a size where that actually is true. Because for a long time, it isn't true, right? For a long time, whether you buy the $1.40 piece of cardboard packaging or you pick the $1.70 cardboard piece of packaging, it doesn't matter, right? You're talking maybe a week wide, maybe you're talking 10 cents, 20 cents, 50 cents, you're talking small numbers. But when you're shipping out hundreds of packages a day, a week, a month, it starts to begin to add up a little bit. And we're at a point now where we have to make some of those decisions. Now, we're not going to compromise on quality. That is something I will not do. But what I mean by that is you have to realize that sometimes you can get better quality for a lower price if you just think about it a little more, if you spend some more time doing a little more research, if you realize that if you change the box dimensions a little bit, you can actually fit more of your products in the box and you need fewer boxes, right? So it's things like that are just details. And so Dad has been always very good about drawing those kinds of questions out of me. He's been an incredible example of faith. My father was born a very good Catholic, and he is now a very good Lutheran, thanks to my mother, I think. But he has been a very good example for that. My mother as well. Both of them have been very strong faith leaders. And that has provided with me a very strong faith foundation and a very good example of what it means to trust in God. It is difficult. I don't think it's ever easy to release and let go of control and just realize that God's in charge. That's something I've always struggled with. And I think that if I look internally and I look at myself, I realize that there are times when I get a little big for my britches, and there are, we hit a patch of incredible success, and I'm just like so proud of my work and so proud of what I've done. And it seems like always when that happens, we sometimes start to hit a little bit of a slowdown. And suddenly it's a little more difficult to make ends meet. And I've been thinking to myself that maybe that's God saying, remember where you come from and remember who gives you things, right? And that's, I think, a good thing. It really does help me stay humble. And my father is a very humble man in many ways, and he is a good faith leader, and that has been very critical. So I thank him for that. Finally, I think what my father has shown me, and I was talking with my mother about this when we were driving to go, we're actually going to look at cars, because our car is falling apart. But we were driving in the car, and we were talking about things from my childhood that made an impact. And I was talking about how going on rounds with my father when I was a little boy, it's hard for me to know how old I was because I didn't think that way. But I in my mind, I had to have been like 5 years old, maybe a little older, maybe a little younger. But I was a little boy. My dad would take me on rounds around the hospital with him to meet his patients, and it's because he does rounds. He met with his patients, talked about how they were doing. And I'd always seen my father as this intellectual. He was always reading the newspaper whenever he got home. He was reading books. He was talking about things that were, political. He would listen to Mars Hill audio tapes before podcasts became a thing. So he was always doing a lot of high-level thinking. And that was good for us. It was good to see that example. But when I went on rounds with him, he would walk into these little old ladies' rooms. I mean, Dad's an old man, by the way. I mean, he won't admit that. And if you're listening, Dad, you are an old man. I know you're listening. You're a good listener of my podcast. But he would walk into these ladies' rooms who were probably, when I was 5 years old, they were just dead. They were dinosaurs walking. But in reality, they were probably more like 70 or 80-year-old women. And he would greet them with, "How are you doing today, young lady?" And it was funny because it's a little thing. And there was all like 100 of these little things that he would do when he was talking with them. But it was this kindness. He was kind and he was funny and he was very gentle. And he treated people like that all the time, but he treated his patients especially well with his very kind and gentle hand. And I think for me, I've always wanted to emulate that with my employees, with the people that we work with our vendors. I've always wanted to be somebody who is kind and gentle. But you don't have to necessarily sacrifice strong leadership, and you don't have to sacrifice being smarter or being the smart one in the conversation or being the one who knows something the other person doesn't. You don't have to sacrifice that while being kind and humble as well. And that was a modeled behavior for me that I think was a very impactful part of who I am today. And so, in honor of Father's Day that's coming up, I am just shout out to you, Dad. Thank you very much for the incredible example that you were. And just purely from money standpoint, thanks for all the likes and thanks for all of the excellent PR that photo got for me. It was a very natural and very organic photo, but boy, did that lead to a lot of website clicks. So way to go there. And I'm really hoping that he will continue to get to see this company flourish, because it is a point of pride for me that we have been able to accomplish what we've been able to accomplish, and I'm excited to see what happens next. And I'm excited to show him what happens next. I'm excited to show both of my parents. I'm like, look at what I did. Look at what we've made. Right? Like, it's kind of like the world's greatest art project. I know I said that about my son, and that's true about my son too, but it's very cool to let your parents see things that you're able to accomplish and to show them that. And I think that's something I'm excited to see for the future. So thank you, Dad. All right, folks, thanks for tuning in today. Be sure to check back in Thursday for our next topic. And don't forget to check that subscribe button below to be sure to get the latest podcast right away. Also hit the notification bell if you're watching on YouTube or if you're listening on your podcast app. That helps you get notified when we launch new episodes. We normally do episodes Tuesdays and Thursdays, unless we're on break for whatever reason. So definitely check back in those days if you're interested. If you have any questions or concerns about your leather binder, journal, folio, mask, accessory, anything we sell, feel free to contact us on the main page of our website at Murdy Creative Co. You can contact us via Instagram and Facebook as well. You can text, email, call, direct message, all the usuals. We will do our best to get back to you as soon as possible. We do appreciate your patience. Right now, we've actually done a pretty good job of getting more caught up on our communication. So if it's early in the week, we apologize. Sometimes the weekend can slow us down a little bit, but for the most part, we're on top of things, which means if you don't hear a response from us within 2, maybe 3 business days, definitely follow back up. We've only had it happen once, but there was one time where a message, for whatever reason, got bounced back to the sender and didn't make it into our inbox. So if you don't hear a response within 2 or 3 business days, feel free to reach out to us again, and we'll do our best to reach out to you. If you want to give us a phone call, quick question, you want to change your email, you want to change your engraving, something like that, right? Feel free to give us a phone call, 414-434-9001. That's a callable or textable number, and we are at that number from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Central Time. So that is 414-434-9001. You can call or text us there. I think we deserve it. A good review can go a long way to help us grow our new community. Both a review on whatever podcast app you're listening on, but also a review on the product itself if you have one. Go to murdycreative.co/reviews to read all of our amazing 5-star reviews. You can also click on a button there that'll take you to facebook.com/murdycreative.co/reviews, where you can write all your amazing reviews. If you want to leave one, you click, do you recommend the Murdy Creative Company? You click yes, and then you can type out your review. We love them. We read them. They mean the world to us. In the new workshop, they're going up on the wall everywhere, so it's definitely something that helps encourage us in our work. If you're going to leave a bad review, there's another button there that says get in contact with us. Please give us an opportunity to make it right. It's very important to me that every person who interacts with our company is very happy, right? Is not unhappy with their interaction. And so give us an opportunity, whatever it is, to make it right. We will do our best, and it really does help us continue to get better when we get feedback, both positive and negative, on our products or on our service or anything. So give us that opportunity to reach out, and we'll make it right. If you really want to help us as well, word of mouth is the best form of advertising. So tell your friends about the podcast, but also tell your friends about the company. If you want to get a little something for doing that, we now have our Smile integration back up and running. So you can go to the murdycreative.co. You can click in the bottom left-hand corner where it says rewards. You click on that tab. If you have a profile and you're signed in, you're good to go there. But if you don't have one, you can just click login at the top of that little pane, and that'll log you into the website. You create a username, password, things like that. That'll give you a rewards points of 5% back on every purchase you make that you can spend in store on anything. But there's also a shareable link there. If you share that link with your friends and family, they get $5 off their first purchase, and you get $5 back as in-store credit when they make that purchase. So definitely check that out if you're interested in getting a little something for sharing. If you have any podcast topics you want to hear more about, send them my way. This podcast topic was brought to you by my mother, who suggested it. And the next one will as well, because my mother's really good at figuring these out. But if you have other questions or things that you want to know about our small business, ask them. I'm always looking for podcast topics, and I want to give you guys what you're looking for. If you want to looking for multiple binders for gifts, giveaways, menus, really any reason, and that applies to anything on our product line, not just binders, we got bulk discounts available. The bulk discounts are now built into the cart. So feel free to just add whatever quantity you need, whatever quantity you think is appropriate to your cart, and the bulk discount will automatically be applied. Starts at a minimum order quantity of 5, and it's based off the total cart quantity. So there's no limitations as far as what you get. You can get 1 of 5 things. You can get 5 of one thing. You can just continue to mix and match, and it goes up from there. So the more you add, the more you save. If you're looking for custom orders, though, we're still on our manual process for that. So if you want to get a custom engraving, we have no minimum orders or minimum order quantities and no minimum setup fees. So all we have is a flat fee of normally $15. It can go up a little bit depending on how complicated or large the image is, but it's normally $15. And you can get that by sending an email, sales@murdycreative.co. Send us an email to that address with the image associated and any of the additional details, quantities, or things like that you're interested in, and we'll be able to create a mock-up for you as well as a custom order link. Hopefully that process will be changing in the future to make it so that it's all something you can do internally yourself at once in an instant, but for now it's still manual, and the bulk discounts apply to those as well. So if it's $15 for just one, if you're going to get a whole bunch, it can go down a lot less than that. So check that out on our website as well under the specialty page where it says bulk and custom. You can definitely go check that out under the specialty tab on the new website. Otherwise, you can send us an email, sals@murdycreative.co. All right, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Have a great day, and goodbye.